The warning lights flashed across the monitoring station's central screen, casting pulses of red across the darkened room. Watcher 17 lifted all four of his eyes from his datapad, his bioluminescent scales shifting from a calm blue to an urgent orange. Something had breached the defense perimeter in Sector Theta 9, and it wasn't transmitting any known identification codes. "Status report," Watcher 17 commanded, striding toward the main console where his crew worked with increasing urgency. Their fingers danced across holographic controls, pulling up scan after scan of the unknown vessel. "Sir, the ship just appeared," the sensor operator stammered. "No warp signature, no jump trace. It's like it materialized from nothing." Watcher 17 clicked his mandibles, a habit when deep in thought. Probably another rogue trader trying to bypass tariffs. It wouldn't be the first time, nor the last, but protocol demanded an investigation. "Get me a visual," he ordered, straightening his command harness. The main screen flickered and the image of a ship appeared. The moment Watcher 17 saw it, his twin hearts skipped a beat. The vessel was sleek, dark, bristling with what could only be weapons ports. But it was the design that sent a chill through his veins. He had seen that configuration before, in ancient war records that still haunted training halls. "Commander," his second-in-command whispered, "those hull markings, they're Terran." Silence fell over the station. It had been 16 cycles since a Terran warship last entered this sector. 3 planetary systems had been reduced to drifting rubble in their wake. The Terrans hadn't fought for territory nor resources, but for something far more dangerous: vengeance. Watcher 17 scales darkened to a deep purple of concern. His station was the sole defense for 12 inhabited worlds. The nearest battle fleet was 3 days away at maximum speed. If this ship was anything like its predecessors, they might not have 3 days. "Track its trajectory," he ordered, forcing steel into his voice. "Where is it headed?" The navigation officer worked quickly, plotting the ship's course. "Sir, it's moving towards Solace Prime. Estimated arrival, 6 hours." Solace Prime, a peaceful colony, home to nearly 1 million civilians, minimal defenses. Watcher 17 felt the weight of command settle upon him. The logical choice was to evacuate, send warnings, and hold the line until reinforcements arrived. But something felt off. The vessel wasn't moving like a warship on an attack run. Its approach was too careful, deliberate. "Sir," the sensor officer's voice cut through his thoughts. Energy readings spiking, they're powering up their systems. Watcher 17 made his decision. "Sound general quarters, power all defense systems, broadcast emergency alerts to every colony in the sector." He paused, knowing his next command would determine everything, and open a direct channel to that ship. As his crew rushed to comply, Watcher 17 studied the warship on the screen. In all his years of service, he had never spoken to a Terran vessel. The Council deemed it pointless. The Terrans understood only war, but standing here, watching this ship move with such intent, he couldn't shake the feeling that they had missed something vital. "The channel is open, Commander," his communications officer reported. "They're receiving." Watcher 17 took a steadying breath, his scales settling into a determined gray. Whatever happened next would either be the greatest mistake of his career or the start of something neither side could predict. Captain Elias Rourke stood at the viewport of the TNS Retribution, watching the stars blur past. His weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass, every one of his 50 years etched in battle-hardened lines. The last 16 had been spent aboard this ship, hunting across the void, striking at the edges of the Galactic Council's empire. The ship's AI chimed softly. "Incoming transmission from Defense Station Theta 9. Rourke didn't react immediately. His thoughts drifted to Earth's final day. He had been there, leading a defense fleet that had never stood a chance. Not against the overwhelming force the Council had sent. Not that they had come to fight. They had come to take. Earth's destruction had been an afterthought, a convenient way to bury the truth. "Captain?" The AI's voice, smooth, synthetic, yet eerily human, spoke again. Commander Watcher 17 is hailing us. Should I maintain radio silence? Rourke exhaled, running a hand through his graying hair. No, Celine. Let's hear what they have to say, but keep the defenses primed. He turned from the viewport, stepping toward his command chair. The council's message played through the bridge speakers. Watcher 17's voice was formal, controlled. This one was different. He was trying to talk, not just shoot first. It wouldn't change anything. Rourke was too close to his goal. Celine, he murmured, pull up the latest intelligence on Solace Prime. Holographic displays flickered to life, revealing the colony in perfect detail. It was exactly as expected, lightly defended, strategically unimportant. Except for one thing. Counselor Malachar was scheduled to arrive in 8 hours. The name made Rourke's jaw clench. Malachar had orchestrated Earth's destruction. He had led the mission that stole humanity's most prized technology, quantum compression drives. The Council had called humanity too dangerous to integrate. The truth was far simpler. They wanted what humanity had created, and they didn't want to share. Captain, Celine's voice carried a note of urgency. Long-range scans confirm Malachar's personal shuttle is en route to Solace Prime. Arrival in 8 hours. Warm up the drone bay, Rourke ordered. The Retribution wasn't just a warship. It was humanity's final testament. Within its hull waited hundreds of autonomous defense drones, each carrying the very technology the Council had tried to steal. But Rourke hadn't armed them for war. He had spent 16 years perfecting them for something far more dangerous: proof, justice. Watcher 17 paced the control center as his fleet prepared for battle. His instincts screamed that something wasn't right. Then his communications officer stiffened. Commander, the Terran vessel is transmitting a response. On an old Council emergency frequency. Watcher 17's breath caught. That frequency hadn't been used since before the Great Wars. It was reserved for diplomatic emergencies, a signal of peace. His scales flickered uncertainly. The Terrans were the Council's greatest enemy, weren't they? He hesitated. Then, against everything he had been taught, he gave the order. Open the channel. A voice came through, steady, unyielding. This is Captain Elias Rourke of the TNS Retribution. A pause. We mean no harm to your colony. We seek only the truth. And for the first time in decades, a Terran and a Council commander spoke, not with weapons, but with words. Watcher 17 remained silent for a long moment, his mind racing through every lesson drilled into him about Terrans. They were destroyers, aggressors, beasts that knew nothing but war. And yet, Captain Rourke hadn't fired a single shot. Truth? Watcher 17 finally said, his voice steady but wary. The truth about what? A pause on the other end. Then Rourke's voice came through, resolute. The destruction of Earth. Silence gripped the control center. Even the ambient hum of the station's power systems seemed to dim. Watcher 17 had studied that war as a cadet. Every officer in the Galactic Council fleet had. Humanity's last stand had been a brutal, desperate conflict, one that had ended with the Terran homeworld reduced to little more than drifting ash. The Council had always maintained that Earth's annihilation was necessary to prevent their aggression from spreading. But now, with the weight of Rourke's words hanging in the air, doubt crept into Watcher 17's mind. What are you implying, Captain? I'm not implying anything. I have proof. The Council didn't destroy Earth because we were dangerous. They destroyed it to bury a secret. Watcher 17 felt his scales shift instinctively toward a pale yellow. Uncertainty. His second-in-command shot him a concerned glance, but he ignored it. Why would I believe you? You don't have to, Rourke replied. But someone on Solace Prime already does. Counselor Malachar has been visiting that colony for years, always in secret, always accessing restricted archives. If you pull the records, you'll see it yourself. Watcher 17 hesitated. Malachar was one of the highest-ranking members of the council, an untouchable figure. If what Rourke was saying was true, he turned to his navigation officer. Check the colony's security logs. Look for repeated classified access to historical records. Use Malachar's clearance codes. The officer hesitated, then nodded and began working. Commander, Rourke's voice came again. You don't have much time. Malachar's fleet will be here in less than 6 hours. He's coming to erase the evidence. Watcher 17 clenched his mandibles. His training told him this was a trap. But something about Rourke's voice. It wasn't desperation. It wasn't a demand. It was a warning. The navigation officer turned, his face a mask of shock. Sir, the records match. Counselor Malachar has accessed the restricted archives of Solus Prime 27 times over the past decade, always at night cycle, always off the record. Watcher 17's blood chilled. If this was true, then everything he had believed about the Terran War, about Earth's destruction, it had all been a lie. And worse, Malachar was coming to make sure that lie remained buried forever. Watcher 17 took a slow breath, then turned back to the communications officer. Patch me through to Captain Rourke. The line crackled. I'm listening, Watcher 17 said. Governor Loren paced inside Solus Prime's control center, his tail flicking nervously. Just hours ago, the biggest problem on his colony had been an upcoming agricultural report. Now he was caught between a Terran warship and the approaching fleet of a high-ranking counselor. This is madness, his security chief muttered. We should prepare an evacuation. Loren exhaled sharply. And go where? We don't have enough ships to get even a fraction of the population off-world. A junior officer interrupted. Governor, we're receiving simultaneous transmissions from the Galactic Council Defense Station and the Terran vessel. Loren's mandibles clicked. The fact that those two sides were communicating at all was unprecedented. Put them through. The screen split in two. On the left, the stern face of Commander Watcher 17. On the right, the weathered gaze of Captain Elias Rourke. This is Governor Loren of Solus Prime, he said. Explain why both of you are contacting me. Watcher 17 spoke first. Governor, you are in immediate danger. Malachar is coming to erase something from your colony's records, something about Earth's destruction. Loren tensed. He had never been privy to high-level council secrets, but Malachar's visits had always seemed strange, unannounced, unrecorded. Then Rourke spoke. He's coming to kill everyone who's seen those records. The room fell silent. Loren felt his blood run cold. Are you certain of this? Governor, Watcher 17 cut in, his tone urgent. If you don't believe us, check the security logs. Look at Archive Terminal 7. Someone has been accessing those files in secret. Someone using Malachar's personal override codes. Loren turned to his data officer. Verify this, now. Seconds later, the officer paled. It's true, Governor. Malachar's code has been used on the archives dozens of times. Loren took a slow breath, steadying himself. Then the alarms blared. Governor, a security officer shouted. Malachar's fleet has arrived early. They're demanding immediate landing clearance. The control room erupted into chaos. Officers scrambled to relay orders, civilian channels filled with frightened voices. Loren turned back to the screen. Commander Watcher 17, Captain Rourke, what do we do? Watcher 17 straightened. I am officially ordering Malachar's forces to stand down. He won't listen, Rourke said. He's already committed. There's only one way this ends. Loren exhaled. Then we fight. The sky above Solus Prime turned to fire. Malachar's fleet opened fire the moment Watcher 17 defied their orders. Defense platforms shattered under the first barrage. The planetary shield flickered as it absorbed hit after hit. But then from above, the TNS Retribution unleashed its secret weapon. Hundreds of drones poured from its hull, moving with impossible speed. They wove a shimmering web of energy between the colony and Malachar's ships. His fleet fired again. massive plasma lances meant to scour entire cities from the surface. The drones caught the energy, redirected it, turned Malakar's own weapons against him. On the ground, Loran watched in awe as the sky became a swirling dance of light. The Terrans had created something new, not a weapon, but a shield that fought back. Malakar's fleet was crumbling, his ships overloaded, their reactors failing. In his desperation, he broadcasted a final message. "You don't understand. The humans were too powerful. If we hadn't destroyed Earth, they would have overtaken us all." Rourke's reply was cold. "You never had to destroy us. You just had to ask." The last of Malakar's ships fell silent. The battle was over. 3 days later, in the Grand Hall of Solace Prime, representatives from across the galaxy gathered. Watcher 17 stood alongside Rourke while Loran addressed the assembly. "The Council told us that humanity was a threat, but today we stand here because a Terran ship chose to protect, not destroy. The war between our species is over. Today we begin again." Watcher 17 turned to Rourke. "Your people have a saying, don't they, about revenge being best served cold?" Rourke watched the children, Terran and alien, playing together in the gardens outside. "We have a better one," he murmured. "The best revenge is living well." And for the first time in decades, Terrans and the Galactic Council walked forward together. Not as enemies, but as something new, as allies.